Hey Cancer, it's Rebecca with Being Human Tarot here with your March 2019 reading. This month I'm sticking with the 3-card spread that I said that I was going to switch up, mostly, for 2 reasons. One is that I actually am pretty affectionate for it in a way that I didn't realize that I was, and also I've just been kind of lazy in researching other options. So as a reminder, that spread, the first card indicates what to focus on this month, the second card indicates what to set aside for the month, and the third card indicates just an additional consideration for the month. This month I'm reading with anniversary deck of the Enchanted Tarot, and the cards are huge. So just to give you like a little preview, like this many cards. It's a lot. Or not this many, but like it's always the same number of cards. It's this size card. So with that, I'll get into your reading. I've already shuffled and drawn your cards. Also, if you've not met Perchik before, Perchik is hopefully being my little helper today and hopefully going to behave and not get too animated and loud. But if he does, I'll just let him take a breather and continue with your reading. So, in your position of what to focus on for the month, you drew the 2 of Wands. Bring it a little bit closer so that you can hopefully see some of the, hopefully it'll autofocus and you can see some of that detail, because the one cool thing about, not the one cool thing, but one really cool thing about these cards is that because they're so large, there's so much extra room for illustration and like detail in those illustrations. And so the 2 of Wands is really about, like many of the 2s, it's about decisions, but it's kind of like it's the planning phases of decisions, particularly related to travel or sort of your next big thing. And it doesn't even have to be a huge big thing. Maybe it's a project of a smaller scale, but typically someone's looking into a globe. Here we have this woman kind of like looking off into the distance, perhaps thinking about what she's gonna do. And as your focus, it definitely related to travel. So, and by travel, I mean like any kind of travel, not just like traveling for vacation or something like that. Like if you're visiting family somewhere or deciding whether to visit family, or maybe you are going on vacation and you're researching places that you might want to go, or maybe you're actually considering making a move for career reasons or otherwise, and you're just looking at and researching different places that could be good to live. Now is a good month for that. For sure. So if you've had kind of like the spark of an idea for that in your head in the past, but haven't really given it a ton more thought, especially with those bigger picture decisions, I think that we can maybe get a little bit intimidated and think that, that's, I'll never move, maybe one day. But maybe this month is kind of the time for you to actually start considering, when is my one day? Is it earlier? Is it sooner rather than later? If you're not looking to make any kind of move like that, it could just be that a different change of scenery would be good for you. Like not necessarily far, like not vacation far, not move far, but it could be a good time to just expand your horizons, maybe go somewhere within the area that you live that you haven't been before, because there's something about going to different places that can be, and like also like apologize for how like obvious this is. So like I don't mean it to sound like patronizing or anything, but I know for myself sometimes, because I don't travel that much, and then when I finally get the opportunity to do something a little bit outside just my daily routine, and like for me, I live in the city, and so just being in the city all the time, even if it's another city, it just can feel so good. It can just feel like your mind getting a little break from things and remembering how much it likes to see new places, even if it's rather small scale and not that far from where you live. So something to think about this month as your focus for sure. In your position of what to set aside this month, you drew another two. You drew the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, I'll do it further back first, so you can get the whole card in case once I move it up you can't see it as well. And I'll move it up a little bit. And so the Two of Pentacles also, again, like a two, so it's a kind of, it can be like a decision-making kind of card, because with the twos, we're always thinking like you're weighing one option over the other, or it can be that. So, but the Two of Pentacles in particular is kind of, it's a balancing act. So someone can be really just trying to juggle the different priorities that are going on, and that person isn't making a clear decision. It can be, but they are also lighthearted about it. It's not kind of, it doesn't have the heaviness that a 5 would have, for example, where like a 5 would be an indicator of an actual sort of like conflict, where the 2, it's like there's some stuff going on. Maybe it's not always comfortable to have this here and to be trying to find that balance. But it's also a fairly lighthearted situation still. I feel a hair grazing in the wrong place. So as you're set aside for this month, you're being asked to maybe take a time out from doing so much. Like if it's possible, because we can't always just be like, sure, I'll just forget about all those things I need to like juggle and do at the same time, and I'll just focus on like work this week, when like maybe you have to like maybe you have a kid, and like obviously you can't just put your kid on the back burner because you decided to just focus on work. So unfortunately, life isn't so simple that we can just like choose one thing at any given time. But because your focus is this sort of planning, maybe it's kind of like, if you have a million other things to do, like if you have to organize your home, if you were going to, maybe you made a lot of commitments with friends and things like that. If there are things that you can put on pause for a little bit, maybe tell your friends this month, next month is a better month for getting together. I need to focus on a couple of like me stuff. It's fine to take that time. I think that sometimes, particularly when it's with people we love spending time with, we don't want to like back burner those like social situations, because they give us life and they're fun and we care about those people. But we also don't want to forget to kind of like take care of us and the planning stuff that we need to do. So again, like it's balance, right? And maybe the balance for you this month with the Two of Pentacles and your set aside is to shift things more into taking care of you, because maybe you haven't been doing that as much lately as you've needed to. And also a consideration for this card is that because it's a pentacle, and the pentacle can be about, like the body, and it's about the earth, being grounded, it could be that you're not, that hurts a little bit, taking as good of care as yourself physically as you should be. So in particular, if that, resonates with you, or if it doesn't even, because sometimes people aren't always aware of like the things they're not doing for themselves. So like, kind of like take stock of how your body's been doing, like have you basically, do you have like maybe some undiagnosed, like you're pretty sure you're allergic to something and you're kind of like feeling tired and like sneezy and sick, like low-key sick all the time, but you haven't like gone to an allergist and gotten the tests done to figure out what you're allergic to and then like troubleshoot. Like if there's been something like that that's been tolerable but been on the back burner for a long time, now's the time to really go into the doctor. I know, like, easier said than done. Finding time off work to get into the doctor can be hard. Doctors are expensive, but you really want to take care of yourself as much as possible, and in particular this month. So in your card of additional consideration, you drew the Queen of Pentacles. So it's your second pentacle, right? And honestly, the Queen of Pentacles just kind of underscores what I was talking about for the Two of Pentacles being in your set aside, because Queen of Pentacles is all about like nurturing, both taking care of others and yourself. She's kind of an inward focused queen. So I think of the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups as two who are both sort of like looking down and kind of introspective in a certain way, where Queen of Swords and Queen of Wands are both kind of like more front facing, like ready to interact with some people and, you know, be social and like get things going. This is a little bit more inner work for you this month. So like I said, it's just kind of highlighting the importance of taking care of yourself for this month. And Cancer, I feel like you're pretty good at that as a water sign and as someone who is a bit more in touch with emotions and how things affect you than a lot of other signs. I think you're pretty good at that already. But because you can also be really good at taking care of others because you're so like empathetic, maybe you shifted a little bit and got away from, you know, you taking care of yourself as much lately too. So I would just say that, remember, this is a very pentacly time for you, and you've also got this little like, woo, I'm sorry, I alarmed Perchik. You also got this little like blip of fire this month as your focus. So it's a good time to kind of like maybe be staying home a little bit more and then just sort of like creatively plotting like your next move for once you've kind of like organized, taken care of yourself, and are ready to get going. So that's your reading for this month, Cancer. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. I upload videos before the 1st of every month, and if you hit the bell icon after subscribing, you'll be automatically notified as soon as I do that. So you'll just get a heads up, you know, quickly, like once I've uploaded those suite of videos for all the signs. And that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you next month, Cancer. Have a great March.